My name is Kate Surala, and I'm a partner at the Analyst Research in London. We are an equity investment research firm that provides and looks at stocks that can double and half, and we would identify some controversial ideas that would differentiate us from our competitors, and we can really export some really interesting investment opportunities for our clients. Our clients will be mainly hedge funds and asset management firms, and we have covered some very interesting names in the past and have been doing great, and the business has been growing. When I was 12, my mum took me to court as she was a social worker and she was representing minors in divorce trials. And I was sitting in the back, so the judge, so the lawyers saw a problem. And I was very interested in the puzzle and the resolution in particular. And that's why I got interested in law, and that was my passion since I was 12. And when I was 16, I considered the profession of being a teacher. I was very interested in helping others and helping them understand difficult topics and break it down in very simple steps. That was the reason why I set up my own business and I became an entrepreneur next to my university and next to my, at the time, classes at high school. And I was approached at several occasions by my classmates and other peer students to help them understand some complex topics as I was achieving very high grades. And I started teaching as a hobby. And when I arrived to Maastricht, where I studied my bachelor, and I did read European law as a major, and I started supporting students when they had difficulties passing the exams, but also supporting them with career advice later on. When I was in Maastricht, my first week and my first month was very difficult, as my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was moving abroad, exactly in the same week. And when I was starting my university, I was faced with a very, very difficult situation where I felt I need to choose between my family and starting my career in the Netherlands. But at the end, I managed to cover both, and I managed to find the right balance where I was studying but also supporting my mother long distance. At the time, I did almost fail my first exam. And when I was studying for this exam, I did study very hard. I covered all the topics, I practiced with my classmates, but the biggest mistake that I did is I didn't practice the exam questions. And that's why I was missing 1 point in order to pass my first exam in law. And at the end, I was very lucky that the course coordinator and professor who was teaching the course at the time decided he's going to give everyone a bonus point, because 70% of the students did fail the exam, and I was one of them. And because of this 1 bonus point, I did pass my first exam, and I got a cum laude, which is the highest distinction in my bachelor's, and I was accepted to Oxford as a result of that. I consider my dad a sponsor because he has always encouraged my brother and I to study hard and to achieve our potential. And I'm very proud to be the 3rd person from our family to study at university. My father was the first person who had the opportunity and studied in the Czech Republic. My brother followed his example and studied finance and economics in Dronten, which is a university quite close to Amsterdam in the Netherlands. And since then, my brother has been living in Frankfurt and working for one of the big fours and advising clients on securitization. And my mom, unfortunately, did not have the privilege to go to university. At the time, during the communist era, she chose family over career and raised my brother and I and gave us the amazing opportunity to go and achieve our potential abroad. I matriculated in 2016. I was reading law and finance at Pembroke College in Oxford. And I was one of the first Czech female students who had the privilege to study this interdisciplinary master's degree, which focuses on training up lawyers who are interested in the financial sector or who would like to enter the financial sector as professionals. And it was a very, very good experience in terms of getting exposure not only on the legal deals, but also on very practical experiences and projects that we did work on, and see how financial firms address issues like those. After I finished my degree, I joined the Analyst, which is an equity investment research firm, and we look at companies and issue investment recommendation about companies that we believe will halve or double in terms of their share price. And we cover some very interesting names. We have an independent and differentiated approach in terms of advisory services for our clients, who are mainly hedge funds, pension funds, or asset management firms. I joined as a head of compliance straight from university because I had amazing opportunity to meet two partners at the Oxford Finance Fair. And we engaged in a very exciting conversation at the time, which was MiFID II. And I've been conducting my PhD on this subject in my free time since our conversation, actually. It was so exciting, and I didn't really see the objectives and the ambition of the firm. At the time, there were only 10 people in the firm, and I joined as a head of compliance and legal. And after 4 months, I was promoted to a chief operating officer, and earlier this year, I was promoted to a partner. So I have seen the business grow, but also I've seen the various aspects of the company from different angles. I came across the Oxford Women in Law during my master's degree when I met the founders, and I understood the objective that they're trying to put together like-minded professionals that can share their tips, stories, and advice. And I was quite excited to learn more about the career progression that the other women had, and how I can learn from their experience, and how they can help me succeed and achieve my potential. And I had the opportunity to write one of the first articles, which was summarizing an event, how to become a judge. And then I was invited to join the advisory board. And I have been now myself supporting young, ambitious women who want to take it to the next level. And that inspired me to start working on a new project. My friend Sarah Wagner and I have been writing a book which is called Unleashed Today. We are helping and encouraging ambitious, young, talented women who want to unleash themselves from the societal norms and rules and fully achieve their potential and climb the career ladder and be promoted to senior positions. There are too many places that those women should be in. They aren't. Sarah and I are hoping to start a discussion, and our aim is to fight the gender inequality, not only in the workplace, but also at the start of your career. Unleashed Today, that's the message that I want to spread, and I hope you're excited for our book next year. The advice I will give to current students and fresh graduates from Oxford, there are 3 points. The first one is that when you have a dream and when you have a goal or something that you're very excited about, go and do it. I always say to myself, sky is the limit. That's how I became the third person to study at university in our family. And I had a picture of Oxford hanging on my wall for 3 years during my bachelor's degree. And it was one of my biggest dreams to even apply and imagine that I would be ever able to study at Oxford, in particular, to be selected as one of the students out of only 40 to 50 students a year to study law and finance. Okay, the second tip I have is to be resilient. I think all of us have had some difficult situations or have been faced with difficult set of circumstances, and I can give you an example of that when I have been sometimes underestimated or undermined because of my gender, because of my age, because of where I come from. And rather than you thinking what's wrong about me, try to twist it into something positive and think, why don't I make an advantage out of it? I became a partner just before my 26th birthday, and I think it was an amazing opportunity that the managing partner saw the potential that I have in me and gave me the opportunity to join the partnership. But it also encouraged me to support other people who are questioning themselves and think, am I actually the person that I am? And the answer is yes. And you should stop listening to your inner voice, which is undermining you. And third is follow up. The way how you follow up with professionals or job applications or anyone else that you have met, it's very important that you just let them know, okay, I really enjoyed the workshop, or I found your speech so exciting that I have a couple of questions. Or if you're applying for a job, no one else is going to ensure that you get in. It's really up to you to follow up and make sure that everyone knows about your application and you're on top of the recruitment process. And that's how I got my job. I did follow up on our very exciting MiFID II conversation, and I got very engaged with the firm. And at the time, my predecessor, who was a partner at the business, was stepping down, and there was an excellent opportunity to start as a head of compliance and legal in a quite senior position. And that all started because I did send an email and I did attach my CV and ask for a follow-up call. So those are my 3 tips. I think we are far from perfect in terms of gender equality, but we have made a huge step and things have been improving. That's what I see in the past years. Some would still estimate it will take 200 years before we achieve gender equality, but I'm a great supporter and believer in initiatives like the Oxford Women in Law, contributing and hopefully motivating the people who are watching this to achieve their full potential and to really take the next step in their career. One of the main things that could help overcome these issues is support from men. Most of the writings were written by men, and I personally believe that men need to get on board to support other ambitious, talented women to take up senior positions, to be part of their board meetings, and to be present in conversations. Men, as the agents of change, would help speed up the process and hopefully give more opportunities to the talent which is out there.